Enmeshment is a relational pattern that some couples will struggle with when the boundaries between oneself and the other become blurred, and it can really impact the relationship in a negative way. Hi, my name is Eric Hammer, registered psychotherapist, and my purpose and passion is helping men who are struggling in their romantic relationships gain a greater self-awareness and have the happy, healthy romantic relationships that they desire. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the concept and the relational pattern known as enmeshment. So, as I mentioned before, enmeshment is this blurring of boundaries when somebody gets into a relationship. And this idea of really not being able to maintain one's autonomy when in relationship with another. So, what this might look like are specific behaviors around people pleasing, for example. This might look like being careful not to create any sort of conflict. This might look like changing one's opinions or kind of blending in to what the other person is like in order to keep the peace. And when there is conflict, when there is perhaps a disagreement of some type, it can lead to a real sense of guilt and a real feeling of responsibility for how the other one is feeling. And unfortunately, with enmeshment, what ends up taking place is there's no specific intimacy or vulnerability or connection because essentially there's not two whole selves in the relationship. It very much looks like a blending of two, where again I might do something or I might say something in order to make sure that you're okay and vice versa. And as a result of this, it becomes quite dysfunctional. Now, this type of relational pattern typically comes as a result of what's been modeled for us in our previous relationships, specifically with our parents. And this idea of guilt for having our own needs and wants, and this idea around being, in some ways, being set up in a way in which we have to uh, take care of our parents' emotional needs, and it does not leave room for this idea of self autonomy. And then, unfortunately, as a result, we might take that same model into our romantic relationships as an adult, and now all of a sudden we're replaying the same pattern over and over again. So, again, I just wanted to give a brief overview of this sort of relational pattern. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you're a man who is struggling in his romantic relationships and is really looking to gain a greater understanding about oneself in order to create the healthy relationships that you desire, feel free to reach out. I'll leave my contact information below. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.